Okay, welcome back to Fire Force Anime Review, episode number 30. Now, I did take a head count of how many series I've actually review series I've done, where it's hit 30. That's a regular review series. This is the seventh one. Yes, the seventh series, because these other following series I've already had 30, or at least hit this far. I mean, the first one was Baruto, then of course was One Piece, Case Closed, and Black Clover. I've hit that far. Seven Deadly Sins was the last known official one to actually hit that far. Yeah, that was the last one, and that was back in April. Yeah, when the season ended. But we're having our season start up with that one. That's not gonna start up until I thought it was gonna be this month when the season started up, but apparently because of the pandemic, it was delayed till January. Yep, January. Now, in the case of Fire Force, now this episode of Fire Force adapts 122, 22 with very little changes to these chapters. I think there's hardly any, and adapting pretty much like the first 10 pages of chapter 123. Yeah, an interesting thing about 122. That's actually the ending of that chapter. That's shown like halfway through this episode. So, in the first 10 minutes, they went through adapting two chapters. Okay, what happens in this one? Well, they kind of course, Sheer, of course, battles the demon, defeats it, and after he defeats it while flying back, is apparently flying at that high speed, thanks to the woman Black's grace, he explains, like, what the heck is she? And it turns out she's the same time of being as the Evangelist. Which, this is actually the episode which has her anime debut. Yeah, we finally see what the Evangelist looks like. I thought the Evangelist was a guy. That's what I thought. Nope, it's a woman. Yeah, they feel this in a flashback where some former rich guy, who apparently lost everything, who basically was mad about losing his own money, wandered to the wilderness. I don't know if this is supposed to be raffles or not. They didn't really say. So he just sees like a wall, and then there's a figure walks out, and according to One Black, this is the Evangelist. Yes, it's one woman who they kind of hint at as the person indirectly responsible for creating the Tokyo Empire. Yep, they visit later. So after that, they pretty much do a little bit of research, and they kind of revealed that the first pillar is. Apparently, they kind of reveal that the Atamasu, the one they have in Tokyo, is powered by a human, Inidora Link, who's actually the first pillar. Yes, the first pillar, who in English dub was voiced by Caitlin Glass. Also, this is kind of weird though, she has a thing for Shira. Yep, one of several women who's got a thing for Shira. Yes, a woman who's trapped inside of an actual like firing furnace has a thing for Shira. Oh, and here's something interesting though about the first pillar. Now, this of course has never been explained in the series of why in the world she looks like Iris. Now, I should point out though, Iris and the first pillar have two different voice actors, which I thought was quite interesting. They did that because I would think though two characters look very similar to each other, they might retain the same voice actor, but nope, they don't. Two different voice actors. Yeah, Iris is voiced by someone completely different. Though Iris is in this episode. So, after solving the whole thing with Atamasu and doing a little more research, they decided back to Tokyo. Of course, Shira says goodbye to Mole and the Talking Bird. Then they basically go on the truck, which they do the same thing they did before. Which, that particular image, that ended chapter 2 to 122. And then we see the start of 123 where they're on, basically you have Shira dreaming about the first pillar, or she's surrounded by water. And then he's told to wake up by the lieutenant, where they arrive back in Tokyo. And, of course, they showed the flashback of Jughead talking to his mother, that it was these talking animals who actually were stealing the thing because they were hungry. And his mother is basically satisfied with that. It's like, okay, if they come by, I'll feed them. And then they pretty much take their vehicle back to their base. And then Shira basically talks to Victor Lit about the whole thing with Asamasuru. And, of course, Victor also explains something that was shown at the start of the last episode. the backstory of how in the world this guy referred to as Ruffles the First kind of helped found the Tokyo Empire right after after the original Cataclysm. Which I'm like, okay, you showed us last week. Now there's kind of a reason why they show us here again, but kind of begs the question: why would you show it last week and then show it again here this week? That makes no sense at all. I mean, Victor is telling this story. In the case the way they did last week, it's just they opened the episode with this 3-chapter thing of explaining the origin of the Asamasuru. Why the heck they would tell in 2 different episodes made no freaking sense to me at all. But all in all, this was definitely a good episode. Now, unlike other episodes where they make some alterations here and there, this one, they did add one funny little gag. They did add one small anime thing. They're at a campfire on the way back, and we see Tamaki looks like she's left her bra out to the truck, and Jugger's like looking over and sees like, oh, it's Tamaki's bra. He's probably thinking she's probably topless. But lucky enough, he grabs it before he does anything. I thought that was hilarious. It's hinted that he has feelings for her, despite the fact she's in love with Shira. Yep. Now, this relationship hasn't got much of any place at all. Yeah, Shira's relationship with a lot of the women in this series has barely progressed in over 200 chapters. Why is that? No idea. Probably because the writer doesn't have time to do it. Alright, moving on to the newest chapter of the series. 238, That Figure. Of course, I'll show a brief teaser image of what Volume 25 is going to be, which is simply Tamaki with her jacket open. Yep. Chapter starts out basically with Shira fighting Raffles. Of course, Victor basically being worried about him. The fact that about what happened just in this episode. And then we see Iris doing her usual prayer. And apparently Pan basically he's asked is it one of your buffs? He's like, no, it's not me. No, it's Shira. Yeah, Victor kind of figures it out. That Shira basically is like a a 3rd generation fire soldier. And of course she shows bro, looks like you don't have to worry about the shockwave. And Shira's like, so the sister has awakened as the 8th pillar. And of course she's sweating. And he's like, having his devotion and prayers on my side. I got a good feeling about this. Yo of the Tokyo Empire. Let me show you the way of salvation. This time his a hand, showing a great flame of fire. That's not salvation. A savior's covenant will save the world. Ogre's like, you got this, Shira. Do your best, Shira. And of course, everyone's cheering for him. Finish this and come home, Shira. Roger that. And then he fires at him. And then, of course, their thing of Ahmed is lulled him. And he goes right through it. It's like, power from his body. I really did it. Lieutenant. He come up with Shira and, of course, see the people from Company 7 watching this. Everybody's watching this. Yay, the course of the Raffles. Everybody's shocked, I guess. Raffles! It is the end of hope. Humanity shall sink into despair. Amazing, that fire soldier. Of course, everyone's yelling, devil. The devil murdered Raffles. We never forgive him. Kill him, kill him. Shira shall never see. Thou shalt never be a hero. This is goodbye. Captain, what's wrong? It's Shira. He disappeared. And the thing is with this little quote, the hero saved the world, called devil, and now he disappeared in the sky. Where could Shira have gone? Next chapter, The Vanished Hero. Yeah, quite interesting chapter. Yeah, why the heck were these people worshipping a guy who looked like he was basically about the goal? Everybody. Yeah, that no sense to me at all. But it looks like possibly next chapter we might figure out exactly where the heck that Shira went. Which hopefully relates, if not, might be 2 weeks from now, okay? So yeah, that's it for Circle Review, and that's probably going to be a video tonight because it's getting kind of late. Now, I was hoping to do the review for Is It Wrong Chubby Girls Dungeon, but I figured they'll want to save it for tomorrow because there's no new case closed episode tomorrow, so I'm going to do it tomorrow. along with another review for Naruto Shippuden. Yep. Produce next video, which will be tomorrow. Bye.